On Thursday, Governor Chris Christie named his state's Attorney General, Jeffrey Chiesa, a fellow Republican, as the interim senator to fill Lautenberg's seat until October's special election. He's not going to run in the special election, but Mike, you think is a good choice? What do you think, Bob?
I think that it's a good tactical choice in that he has a deep resume. He was at the U.S. Attorney's Office, did high-profile public corruption cases, brought down a Democratic power broker and Senate President John Lynch. Also has a good grasp of the issues around immigration, and so he's the thing though for Christie is that it avoids him from having to get involved with a very nasty potential primary battle and looking like he's trying to insert his pick, and it makes it look like he's not trying to use this appointment for partisan advantage, because what he could have done, and Republicans in Washington wanted this, was for him to push full advantage and let that person in the interim stay until 2014, which would have given them some real tactical advantage in an election.
Yeah, but he used the partisan advantage card not in appointing this guy who's a caretaker, and I applaud him for doing that, but in choosing to avoid having to appear with Cory Booker on the ballot in the November election. There is no question that the vast majority of voters would logically conclude that the election to succeed Lautenberg would take place when the other elections take place, to maximize voter participation and avoid the state having to spend $24 million that it doesn't have. This is the most shameless political move I've actually seen Christie do. And here's the thing, the guy is most likely going to win. He just wants to win by a huge margin. So frankly, his greed to try to boost his vote count, to sell himself to the National Republican Party, is costing New Jersey taxpayers $24 million, and I think is unbecoming of a guy who sort of positions himself as a bit of an independent maverick.
If he was going to sell himself to the National Republican Party, he would have appointed somebody who would have stayed through 2014 and given what the Republicans nationally wanted. So he said no to that. He said no to that partisan card. What he's doing is he's giving the voters of New Jersey a choice. He's letting them fight this out in the primary and the general, and he's getting it done as soon as we possibly can. There are big issues affecting this country. There are big challenges ahead, and having somebody in that seat who's elected by the people, chosen by the people, as soon as possible makes the most sense. It's one thing to put an interim person in there who's his choice, and he picked a really strong person, in my view, but having the voters pick and having the voters' choice as soon as possible, to me, makes the most sense. And by the way, the statute, as the governor interprets it and his lawyers interpret it, says this is the only choice.
I mean, one of the things to keep in mind also is that there is going to be a primary with the Democrats. While Booker certainly has a lead here, we have the likes of Congressman Rush Holt and Congressman Frank Pallone. He's got a lot of money in the bank. Here's the thing, they've got to come up with 1,000 legal signatures by Monday at 4. So there's going to be some...
You have a list there of who are the potential...
Yeah, those are the three. And then also on the Republican side, we have Steve Lonigan, the former mayor of Bogota, real Tea Party favorite. And other than that, I haven't really seen any other Republicans emerge. John Bramanek, the leader of the Republican minority in the Assembly, says he's committed to try to win back the Assembly, so he's taken his hat out of the ring.
It's a blue state. It's a blue state.
Christie is very popular among Republicans and Democrats in New Jersey. A Republican has not held the Senate seat from New Jersey since 1972.
Clifford Case, right?
What is the likelihood of a Republican?
Like I said, it's a blue state, but what the governor has done is given the people the choice as soon as they possibly can have it, and that makes the most sense. And again, there may be the issue of 24 million, whatever. The issue is, what does the law say? And the law says, as they interpret it, that you have to do it in October. You have to give the, and again, he rejected the National Republican Party push.
That is very much subject to debate. And those 3 weeks, those 3 critical weeks, so we can get the elected senator in there instead of the caretaker senator, that's $1 million plus a day going right down the drain, A. And B, everybody knows few people participate in special elections, so we're actually going to have more cost and fewer people choosing the senator. Doesn't make any sense.
I think it's going to be a high-profile race. I think that'll drive turnout.
Not like it would in November, which is what Christie was scared about.
How does this impact Christie as he goes forward towards a possible presidential run in 2014.
Well, listen, I think he's picked a law and order attorney general who served in the U.S. Attorney's office, rooted out corruption. I think he made a very solid choice. But again, I don't think it really has a big impact nationally. The bottom line is who is Chris Christie? How is he governing? What is he doing in office? This is all kind of byplay that at the end of the day I think is small potatoes as it relates to national things 4 years from now.
How do you tell the voter, who is Chiesa?
He's the Attorney General. He was a former U.S. attorney. He's a guy who's rooted out corruption. He's a Jersey boy with Jersey values.
He's also a longtime personal friend. I mean, the governor and Chiesa started at Doogie Hewitt and Balantucci as young lawyers in the 1980s. So this is a deep relationship here. And so we're going to have a level of, I'd say he was one of his top confidants.
Which is precisely why he picked him. He's got 5 months in office. He knows that he can trust him. But at the end of the day, the real story is going to be who comes out of this election in October and ultimately who serves out the term from 14 into 20. I believe Cory Booker is best positioned to do that. I think he brings a fresh new face to the Democratic Party, and his vision is pretty extraordinary. And when you listen to him talk, I think that is exactly the type of person that New Jersey is going to embrace to be the next senator, both in the interim period, in the special election, and then come 2014.
Mike, would you agree that Cory Booker?
I think Cory Booker right now is an inch deep and a mile wide. We'll see if he can withstand the scrutiny that will come with his record in Newark. He on paper, great candidate.
But Chiesa, he's a conservative Republican. Totally extreme opposite side of where Frank Lautenberg
I don't think
was.
he's an extreme. I think extreme is a harsh word in this case.
Extremely opposite, I'm saying.
He's extremely
where
opposite of it. Hopefully he's extremely opposite on economic issues and when it comes to tax and spend, and he provides a break on some of those issues. Because you talk to the families in Jersey, tax and spend is not where they're at.
Mike McCune, Bernard Whitman, and Bob Henley, thank you very much for your insight.
Thanks,
discussion.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And that's our program for this week. If you have any comments or wish to see this broadcast again, log on to our website at pix11.com/newscloseup. I'm Marvin Scott. Thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everyone.